review part. That would be Cami or Wendy. So if you have a K that is on your row that I sent you in the email, of course, Cami Reed would be the team member who would be visiting your site. If there's a W, then it would be Wendy Griffin. And there are a few sites that actually have both K and W. Okay. And then we have another important document, which is the virtual observation instructional staff information form. This form has to be filled out before your actual compliance monitoring virtual visit. It would be ideal for you to send it with the written documentation or soon after the written documentation. This form is to be completed to let the compliance monitoring team know which teachers are going to be interviewed by the team members. And also it lets us know if your program has decided and if the director has decided to have an instructional showcase where we would be doing an observation of a class. In that case, at the bottom of this form, you would include the teacher's name, the teacher's email address, the class subject to be observed, the start and end time, the platform that that teacher uses, and also any instructions for that team member to be able to participate in that virtual observation, a link, a phone number, things of that nature. I wanted to also make it clear that at the top of this form for teacher interviews, we have 3 people, 3 team members who will be interviewing. So because there are 3 different people who will be interviewing, it is okay to schedule your interviews at the same time. They can be simultaneous. It does not have to be one before the other, or one after the other. The compliance monitoring review process begins with a 2-day virtual component. The first day, that Tuesday, includes introductions of the team members as well as the superintendent and whomever they may have brought with them and the director. The superintendent shares their thoughts and the director gives an overview. We also go over the required documents and review the required documents from consideration 17. That would be headed by Ms. Mary Hughey, financial monitoring. After she completes the financial monitoring, then there's the written documentation review that I handle with the director. And while all of this is going on, depending upon the time that the teachers are scheduled to be interviewed, teacher interviews and observations of classes will be happening. That's all on day 1. On day 2, we have clarification sessions with the director if there are any questions that arose during the written documentation review and teacher interviews, and then a preliminary exit. The on-site component will consist of the on-site records review, review of attendance records, and observations of any area of the program or any documents that we were unable to observe or review because they were unable to be uploaded. We will have a compliance monitoring team debrief and then the final exit conference. After the final exit conference, 45 working days later, you should be receiving your compliance monitoring review report. As far as the compliance monitoring process, on the first day, like I mentioned previous, we would have a welcome, we would have the purpose of the review, we would have a monitoring review process overview, which would give us time to make changes if for any chance a teacher was out ill or could not make it and there was another teacher in that place, or any other changes that may arise, we do it during this time. And then we start with the virtual visit overview, the superintendent or board chair's vision for adult education, the director's overview, financial monitoring, documentation review, teacher interviews, and instructional showcase. And it follows as the bullets follow on this slide. We have a schedule that we put together that is a standard schedule for all programs. If there is something that has to take place at a different time, that is not a problem. If your superintendent cannot make it on day one and they need to make it on day two, just let us know and we will work with you and rearrange the schedule. But this is the standard schedule that we send to everyone, every program. And we make sure that based on the information that is sent to us regarding the teacher interviews and observational showcase observation, we plug in the information. And then we send this schedule to the director to confirm that the schedule works with their program and with their staff. If the schedule is not workable, we would communicate back and forth until we get a schedule that works for everyone. So this would be day one. And then we have day two. Regardless of how long or regardless of the length of time that a segment takes or a component takes, we will stay on schedule. If the compliance monitoring team debrief, for instance, only lasts for 15 minutes or maybe even 20 minutes, we still will not meet with the director until 10. We will not readjust our times. If the clarification session ends at 10:30, it could end at 10:30 and we would not meet with the director again until noon. At this point, I will hand it over to Ms. Mary Hughey for the financial monitoring program documents and reports.
Andrina, you do have a question.
Okay, thank you.
From Brad Steele from the Literacy Center, he asked for CBOs, would it be their board chair that does the overview?
Yes, it would be the board chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mary, if you're ready.
I'm ready. Thank you, Andrina. On the day one, when we do the financial monitoring portion of the compliance monitoring, if you're looking at consideration 17, 1 through 8, kind of describes the documentation requirements, but the documentation that I will be reviewing that I would be looking for to look at how your expenditures, whether they're allowable or unallowable, off your budget reports. So the first one talks about your operation. I will be looking at your financial ledgers to see how the funds are expended. When I say financial ledgers, now there are different ones. District level, they may use expenditure reports by funds or by account. They may have a detailed account inquiry by account, or you may have the budget report on the program level. I'm looking for whatever has your expenditures by accounts. I'm looking at your 243, your 356, and other accounts you have your 956. So whatever has your adult ed funds, that's what I'm looking for. All other program documents or reports that I will be reviewing, we need your current year and your previous 3 years. Keep in mind, we're looking over your grant period. So current is 2021, and then your previous should be 3 back from 2019 through 2017. When we talk about payroll process, when you do your written documentation for your payroll process, I will be looking to do a comparison with your timesheets and your semi-annual certification form. What do I need to see how your employees are paid? Well, you have your labor history. It will show your payroll period, and it will also show your check dates. That's how I'm looking to see, to make sure that we're paying within the fund sources that you are saying that's on your staff roster. So I do need timesheets for part-time employees. If you are using a semi-annual that you have to give every 6 months or twice a year, that's what I'm also looking at for employees that are paid salary, or they're not punching the time clock or whatever. So I just need something to show accountability for those employees that are with your program. Staff roster requires that I need to know the funding source, their position, the rate of pay, and their status, if they're full-time or part-time. Now, what I'm also pulling prior to the compliance monitoring, I'm going into LACES and I'm looking at your roster. And once we get to the programs doing the compliance monitoring, I will compare that with your roster that you send in. I will also do the comparison with your timesheets and your semi-annual to make sure that we're paying those who are with the program and those who are on your labor history. Then 17.8, equipment. Anything in your category 500, equipment. You know, it's required that you are to submit to Mike quotes for whatever you are purchasing and get approval from him. Also in your 400 category, you may have purchased equipment, computers. Some districts will put it in 400. If computers are in the 400 category, same thing applies as if it was the 500 category. Everyone should have received. If you have not, you know, let me know, I'll send you one, but there is an adult education inventory control form that you will have to list all of your equipment that you used federal or state funds to make a purchase of equipment. And also on that form, it has instructions as to what we're looking for, description, details, date purchased. So just think in terms of when we're looking at finances together, we just need backup. Okay, if I say Mary is working for Charleston, then Charleston should have my timesheet, and I should be able to go back and look at a pay history. Or if I'm looking at my checkbook, if I wrote a check for my electrical bill, I should be able to balance and look at my check history or my check register to say I did pay the light company. So that's all we're doing. We're just doing checks and balances and making sure that we're in compliance with the regulations. That's it, Andrina.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Now we will have Cami Reed talk about the written documentation survey tool tips.
Okay, if I can get you to bring the survey tool up on the screen.
Okay.
For me for just a minute. The survey tool has been a really great way for us to collect your written documentation and all of your uploads. I am just so thankful of all the trees that we're saving. I know some of our programs still want to have their box, and that's great, but then you're not making 2 and 3 copies of everything. So it has been really great for that, and it keeps it all in one place. Andrina, are you sharing that?
Are you able to see the screen?
No.
Okay, let me reshare, and I will pull it up for you.
I didn't know if it was me.
Can you see it now?
Yeah,
Okay,
I got it
great.
now. Okay, so when you log in, literally all of the documents that you are going to need as part of the compliance monitoring process listed right here. Did add the review schedule. The original training PowerPoint is in there, all of your templates. What I want to call your attention to right this minute is the written documentation tool tip sheet. Adrian, if you can click on that one. And I'm not going to read the whole document to you, but if you have not gone into the tool and started entering anything, I would recommend starting here. It'll just walk you through just some of the basics. Just one thing there in the middle, your written list descriptions. You can type directly into the box and you copy and paste from another document. So say you have your processes written out in Word, you can copy from Word, but you have to use the, what are they called? Hotkeys, Control V to paste it in. It will not paste any formatting. So if you have it in colored fonts, any font other than Times New Roman, Arial, so forth, any bolding, italics, underline, it's not going to format those things, and none of those things are required as part of your written documentation. I'm going to talk about the digital uploads, but if it requires a digital upload, there's an upload button. If there isn't one there, then you don't have to upload a document. It's pretty simple. If you scroll down to page 2, and that talks about downloading your templates, which is very, very simple. Photographs, you can upload them as many different formats, but I highly, highly recommend, and I'll talk about this in a minute, putting them into a Word document or PowerPoint and then saving as a PDF. It takes up a lot less space if you're going to do photos. But I'm about to get into more detail on that. If we can go back to the PowerPoint.
Are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Not yet.
Okay.
Might have to unshare and reshare.
That is exactly right.
Love technology.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so if we can get to our next slide. Tip number 1. And these next few tips are coming from programs who have completed their written documentation already and some of the struggles that we had. And again, it's a new system, new way of doing things this year. So they got to be our guinea pigs. And thank you all for that, for those that are on the call that have already completed this part, because they helped me create kind of our tips here for this. So step number 1, and probably the absolute most important, and I know some of our directors who haven't quite started their process yet have already done this, because I can see, which ones have started. So the very first thing when you go in there is in that top right corner, click resume later. It is going to ask you for a name. It's going to ask you to create a password. And the most important thing, it says in orange that an email is not required. Please enter an email address. If you go to the next slide, you want to enter an email address, because then it's going to send you an email with your name and password. These passwords, if you forget them, they cannot be retrieved, and you may have to start all over. So tips number 1 and number 2, probably the most important: save your progress along the way. Don't lose your email password. We can recover things that had already been entered, but we can't resume you back into the same survey. So you're going to have 2 different documents going on. We really like to avoid that. Okay, next slide. Tip number 3. If you have any troubles getting into the survey. So say you worked on it for a couple hours yesterday, closed your computer, you come back today, you open up Chrome, and it's not letting you load your previous survey. With websites today, and this is going to include our survey tool, there are so many things going on in the background that it doesn't take a whole lot to bog down your browser. Each of the sites that you visit, it stores in your cache, so it will load quickly the next time. Your cookies are all saved. It's all these little bookmarks going on inside. And the browsers just really, as highly technological as things are today, our browsers kind of lag a little bit. So you want to make sure when you finish working on your survey for the day, save it and then clear your browsing history. If you're not sure how to do that, in Google Chrome, there's a kebab menu. And these are formal terms, by the way, which that's why I use them. They're great kebabs. The menu bars are all named after food, which as developers have a really great sense of humor. But the kebab menu in Google Chrome, it's the 3 vertical dots in the top right corner. So you're going to go settings, privacy and data, and then clear your browsing data. For those of you who work in LACES, if you've been pulling a lot of reports or just going to a bunch of different tabs in LACES, this is definitely something that you'll want to do, because LACES and Chrome don't always work well together when you've been asking it to do a lot of things. Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge are awesome because they both have the option to clear your history on every exit. For Internet Explorer, it's under Tools. It's got a shark's tooth menu. Microsoft Edge has a meatball menu in the top right corner, just 3 horizontal dots. And if you set those to clear your browsing history every time you exit the internet, you're going to notice faster loading times with everything, not just with the survey. So usually if you email or call me in a panic and you say, I can't get in, it's not working for me, it's not letting me log in, that's the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, is to clear your browser history and then try to log in again. Okay, next slide. So uploading your documents. Document titles, be sure to name your documents with the consideration number and the actual title of the document. How that's going to help is once you have everything submitted, we are able to take all of those documents, download them together, and I can combine them into one PDF file and send it back to you for your records. So you will have everything you submitted, all of your uploads, your documentation. Can have everything in one document and send it back to you, and it just makes it nice and neat. Another issue we have, if you're uploading huge documents, what's going to happen is you're going to click to upload and it's going to look like it did. But then if you refresh it, it may not be there. Don't panic. We've learned that if you have a larger PDF file, it'll take a little bit of time to upload. So you may need to stop, go get you a coffee, give it a few minutes. And then it might show up. If it's still not there after 5-10 minutes, save it, clear your browser, close your browser, and then open it back up again. It's just kind of that just imagine calling the IT person and then they say, did you hit the reset button, turn it off, turn it on again, unplug it, plug it back in. Kind of the same idea with your browser if things get a little laggy. And so I don't know if everybody's looking at the chat, but Mary Ellen says she can now die happy after learning to call those menus kebab and meatball. And there's also a donor menu, which is named after it's a Turkish meat that's kind of like a gyro meat. So it's a little upside down pyramid menu. There's a hamburger, there's an alt hamburger. I've learned all kinds of things lately now that we're doing all this technology. Next slide. Let's see. Okay. If you do have large documents, you want to try to, first of all, try to limit your uploads to only what is required. However, if you have a really great document, say your intake and orientation is already laid out and it's on a PDF and it's a flow chart and it's beautiful and you really want to share that, we do have a place for that. You can take it down all the way to the bottom, make sure it's named correctly, and just upload it into 20.5. So and that goes for any of the considerations. If it asks for you to write, but you'd rather upload, that's absolutely fine. And you can add those to the end. And as long as it's named correctly, there'll be no problem putting that where it's supposed to be. Another thing to make it more simple is if there's a document that's available online, you only need to submit the link. We don't need the full version, especially if it's your district document that can be, 100 pages or more, but we only need to see like 2 pages of it. If there's a link, great. You can stick that in, the written box, or even you can email that to Andrina and she'll get it over to the right person so that you don't have to upload those massive documents. If the document's not available online, it's too large to upload, it's not letting you upload it, you can contact us and I can help you if we need to optimize it or just pull out a page or two, and maybe you don't have the Adobe Pro to be able to do that. Just get with one of us and we'll be able to help you out with that. And what I mentioned before with photos, sometimes full-size photos can be very, very large files. It is easiest for the upload process you create like a little photo album in Word or PowerPoint with some captions. It will take up a lot less space and it'll upload faster. But however you want to do that is fine. And if any point along the way dealing with the survey tool, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email or call, and we will get you through the process. Ooh, I think that was all of the tips. Is that it? Any questions?
I did want to say one thing that I did not mention, that at the time of your written documentation, well, when it's due, there will be a survey that will be sent to your staff at your program. It's a list of questions that we on the team usually ask when we're face-to-face over lunch to get more of a feel for your team dynamic and the different activities that happen at your program. So we are trying it this way by sending those questions in a survey form to your staff. So that will go out on the date that your written documentation is due or before. Are there any questions? Nothing in the chat box?
So Andrina.
Yes.
This is Kim Linton. I just want to make sure I'm clear with the teacher observation or classroom observation. So I thought in the fall, well, earlier in the, when we had the first meeting, virtual meeting, I was saying we could upload recorded classroom video. So, I mean, are we going to do it like a team meeting where you guys are I've set it up so you can see them in the classroom actually teaching live? I'm not sure. I'm not clear on that. I want to make sure. Okay.
First of all, just to let you know, it is optional for any program. And when you do decide if you're going to have that portion, you can use any platform that you like. You can have it recorded and we can watch that. You can do it live. It can be on Zoom, Google, even Facebook Live, not Facebook Live. Facebook Live, if you have someone who has it open while the class is going on, just as long as we're actually able to see the lesson taking place. And it's a 30-minute observation.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
You have another question in the chat box. If we do have classroom recordings to contribute, where would we upload them? Do they go under the consideration for, I guess, contextualized instruction number 8? Or would they go in that box where the other items are put, Cami?
Well, that's a good question because we haven't uploaded any videos. I don't think it will allow it. So we may have to work one-on-one with the program to figure out what format they're in. If they can be shared maybe through Google Drive or OneDrive, but we can work on that.
Any other questions?
It looked like Susan says she will have brief questions about the on-site visit, but I don't know if she wants to save them or ask them now.
It may be a good idea to save them because we are about to go over on-site records review process next.
Okay.
Cami and Wendy will be handling the on-site review process for records.
All right, this is Wendy. Welcome everyone, good afternoon. If we can go to the next slide, we're going to be talking about the on-site records review process. Because of COVID, obviously we've had to delay our on-site visits. We've done the first part virtually, and then we're doing the second part with the records review in person. And we do want you to understand that we will be following safety measures. We'll be doing whatever your district or program's requirements are. We will, if we need a private workspace just for that social distancing and, you know, just to keep us away just in case. As it turns out, I've already had COVID, so I'm going to be okay. You guys don't have to fear me. But we will be wearing masks and participating in social distancing just to keep everyone safe, including team members and your folks at your programs as well. All right. We do have some on-site visit guidance already created, and we would like you we're going to take just a peek at these, and they are located in that list that Cami referenced earlier. These documents are located there, but I do want you to just take a quick look at them just to be sure that we know what's there. Oh, now it's going right to it. How about that? And these go over all of the on-site visit procedures and things that you may need to know about. There are some things that are not appropriate here, like meals. Well, I guess the on-site there are meals, but we are responsible for meals, so you guys don't need to worry about that. The time frame on our visits appears to be between a half and a whole day, depending on the size of the program. So we may or may not be there all day, but I do want you to be sure to reference this document and make sure that you have a clear understanding of the safety measures that we're looking at. And we do want you to submit a copy of your safety requirements beforehand, just so that we know what requirements we will need to follow in order for us to visit your program. All right, thank you.
Are you able to see the screen still?
Yeah, yes, this is the PowerPoint now.
Okay, great.
All right, if you'll click on the guidelines for student records, these are the specific things that we're going to be asking for when it comes to those student records. If you'll stop right there, there's some things about the day before the visit, the day of the visit. All of these things still apply. There's really no difference here from when we were doing on-site visits, full on-site visits, I should say. And this document will give you some real good guidance about exactly what we expect to see, and just some guidance as what you need to prepare for us before we come to your program. All right. And I won't go over all these. You guys can read these, but it does the day before, the day of. It has just the records and specifically what we're going to be looking for in student records. When we open up that folder, the things that we would like to see in those records. keep going. There we go. And then we have some purge guidelines as well, that how long you need to keep specific records. And let's see. And then the student folders, of course. And then finally, some guidance about digital student portfolios, because more and more programs are, exploring the option of doing digital portfolios. So we do have specific guidance surrounding digital portfolios as well. All right. So please use those documents to guide your preparation for the visit. During the on-site visit, we're going to review permanent records. We're going to look at teacher and student folders. We're going to review attendance records. We're going to be looking at the designated testing areas that you use for TAE, Best Plus, Best Literacy, and GED. So we will be taking maybe a short tour of your building to look at those testing areas. And then it's for you to review those required documents on the written documentation tool. All right. We will be creating an audit report. We'll be taking all of your students and then randomly selecting either 25 or 40 students for us to review those records. And we will be sending you that document by 5 o'clock the day before the on-site visit. Once we get there, the process is a little bit different. Sometimes it's more time efficient to look at student records when they're maybe not in the class, and so we might do that first. What we do first, second, and third may depend on your class schedules and your particular program. Not to mention that sometimes some of you even have multiple sites. We may ask that you collect those records and bring them to one site as opposed to us going out to those individual sites. And any clarifications that you'll need, we will address those while we're there and figure it out while we're doing the records review on site. As far as attendance, the team member, if it's Cami or I, will verify attendance for students included on that audit report. So that 25 or 40 students that we indicate we're going to be looking at records, we also will be verifying attendance for those students as well. And so in preparation, be sure to make sure that you're ready to show documentation of those student attendance hours, whether your program uses sign-in sheets or electronic sign-in records. Be prepared to show us documentation of attendance for those 25 or 40 students. All right, and I think that's all I have to say. Are there any questions about on-site records review, Susan?
Yes, Wendy.
Yes.
You bear with me and I'll go through these very quickly.
Okay.
I need to just talk with you and Cami, since my office is not a site that offers classes and programs at the partnership agencies. But I did have a quick question about with the method of collection. So when it has observe virtually and observe on site. So when you come on site where there's things that say virtually observe the facility or virtually observe the program's emergency, that's already been addressed, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I just wanted to double check that anything that said observe virtually, we have handled already this fall in November. And that
for programs that have already completed the virtual visit. Yes.
I'm speaking from Charleston or any of the others like Colleton that have already finished theirs.
Correct.
Okay. Then the other question was in regards to the classroom observations. In one area, in one section of the documents that has to do with the training manuals and the guideline for student records. So classroom observations as it relates to observing a teacher teaching, that does not occur during the on-site review.
That is correct.
Okay. So when it indicates observe students integrating digital literacy into daily academic, which is 7.2.B, that does not happen this school year because of COVID.
That is correct. We will not be doing any kind of classroom observations. The only reason that we possibly could visit a classroom is to maybe collect some student records or, or look at something like that. But
instructional showcases,
that's
that
right.
worked out really well.
That's
Okay.
right.
And then just bear with me. I got one more. Because you can't see all my sticky notes, right? That are on all my.
Turn the camera on, Susan.
I don't want to turn my camera on because you'll see all my sticky notes. The part that you talked about visiting and looking at were TABE testing, GED testing. I did have that written down about the state GED testing walkthrough, since ours is at SC Works and my office at North Charleston High School. Again, maybe this is a conversation that you, Cammie, and I can have about how we need to, set that up and schedule that. So
yes, please.
About that. So maybe, I've got time after this, or if we want to set up another time, but just those logistics of making sure that I have everything where you need it to be. And then I also have to make arrangements then with those partnership agencies,
right,
for that access, to those facilities, do the building capacity and scheduling appointments and all that kind of good stuff.
Correct. And for other folks, if you have issues, if you see some issues, maybe similar to what Susan's talking about or others, please contact us and let us know. We can work through most issues just individually to get those ironed out before we actually come for our visit.
I think for right now, I know I will need to talk to you and Cammie just with those logistics, and I can just do that as another separate conversation. But I think just for the good of the group, it was more of that classroom observations, and then also just needing to physically see, where TABE testing or WIN testing or GED testing occurs, with that. The other comment I would just want to make to those directors that are still needing to go through this process, Charleston, we did our virtual 2-day visit in November. And the State Department was absolutely amazing in regards to just the support and answering questions. And those 2 days I felt went very smoothly, as Adrena mentioned, with the schedule and having that schedule and the times that people would join the meetings, that worked out really, really well. And the only tip I would give to the other directors that still need to do their information and putting it into upload or for typing it in is give yourself longer than what you think it would take, because it did take just time to name the documents the way that they need to be named after the WIOA consideration and what that is, and then just the actual uploading or if you're copying and pasting. So as directors are doing that, just give yourself a little bit more physical time to be able just to do that particular process. But the way that Cammie and the State Department had it set up for the uploading and saving, it worked out really, really well and was very easy to use. And for those directors who know me and my technology skills, if I'm saying it was easy, you guys will know it's a piece of cake. So
well, thank you for the kind words, Susan.
And those are my questions, but I can stay afterwards if Cammie and Wendy, just if you have a few moments too, or we could schedule another time to talk. So thank you.
Sure, no problem. But let me reiterate that, there are special circumstances sometimes with programs, and please do, contact us, communicate with us if you find some special circumstances that may prevent us from doing what we need to do when we get there, and we can work it out together. We are flexible on that and we want to make it as easy as possible on both sides, for you and for us. So, please do contact us if you see some problems that might occur. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If there's not any questions, I'm going to step away and hand it back.
You do have a hand up. Condra from Lancaster, if you want to unmute
Hey, Condra.
and ask your question.
Hey,
My question is, you were talking about the attendance hours. Is that just for, for the folders that are pulled? Is that?
I'm sorry, Condra, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I apologize.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Yes.
Okay. The attendance hours, is that just for the current year students, or is that for the ones that you pulled
Yes.
from past years as well?
That is just for current year students.
Okay, that was my question. Thank
Right, and that audit report will only reflect current year students.
you. Okay.
All right, well, I will, if there's nothing else, I will hand it back over to Andrina. And this is time for questions, so there you go. If there are any
Yes.
other questions.
Any questions at all regarding the first part of compliance monitoring or the second part, which is on-site?
No more questions. You did have a couple of comments though, from Sumter and Aiken, commending you for how well the virtual visits went with their programs and your helpfulness and your
I've got a
ease
question, ladies, too, when you get a chance.
of working with them.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone.
You can go ahead with that question.
Okay, hey, so on the financial monitoring, do I need to go ahead and set an appointment time up with our financial director lady uptown for us to sit down together, or that just be me and the ed associate, or does that the ed associate, me and the financial monitoring or the financial director? Who is that? Who needs to be in that meeting? I guess that's what I'm asking.
It is recommended that you have someone from your finance office district-wise either there to help you with questions we may have or paperwork, or if they are not able to attend, at least have them available for that 2 hours that I will be with you.
Okay, all right, thanks, Ms. Rose.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Not in the chat box.
Okay. I do want to say that although we have sent the records review dates, we never know what could possibly happen. After 2020, we know that things can change at the drop of a hat. So just keep checking your emails. If anything changes or if there are any issues, we will let you know, and we will work with you and your program to make sure that we get everything taken care of in a way that's convenient for everyone.
And Andrina, vice versa, if your program, we're having random shutdowns sometimes. So if an on-site visit is going to be an issue, please let us know as soon as possible.
Thank you. Yes. We still have about 30 minutes or so. Actually, we have quite a bit of time, but if there aren't any other questions, we don't have to hold you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or have a question at all? Is there anyone on the compliance monitoring team who reads the written documentation who would like to make a comment or a suggestion? Because for written documentation, we do read that information. We have a primary reader and we have a secondary reader. And the section or consideration that is being read is based on the Ed Associates area of responsibility in our office. So we really try to go over the compliance monitoring written documentation thoroughly, and we offer questions in those areas that we feel that maybe your answer wasn't as thorough as we liked, or possibly if it was very thorough and it was very interesting and we're curious to find out more about what you wrote. So during the written documentation review, the only thing that we would be going over, myself and the director, would be questions that arose during the time that we were reading the written documentation. If there were no questions or comments or concerns, the time that we spend together may be short. It could be, it's neither positive nor negative, because if we want to know more about it, we may ask questions for that reason as well. Are there any Ed associates, any team members who have any suggestions or tips or comments at this time? I would say that this meeting is at its end. I want to thank all of you for being in attendance. I'm really hoping that this refresher has given you the information that you need and the confidence that you need to be able to get through the compliance monitoring process with ease and not too much stress. We have enough of that as it is. And if you have any questions at all after this session, please feel free to reach out to us. We will get back to you to answer the question. I will be sending this recording out to get it, to have it go through accessibility. Once it goes through accessibility, it should be sent to YouTube, or it could be posted on YouTube, and I will send you a link so that you will have access to this recording. But it does take a couple of days. So as soon as I get the recording, I will send it out. You all, thank you again and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.